the phenomena of God complex, which can be defined as a trait that elevates the self-esteem of an individual to such an extent that they start looking down upon everyone else, is not limited to the real world. It also appears frequently in the anime. In fact, many of the most memorable anime characters with a god complex wield frightening powers to match their disturbing attitudes. In this video, you will explore some of the best anime characters with a god complex who think that they are better than everyone else. So starting off our list with the character Meruem from Hunter x Hunter. Meruem is the most powerful offspring of the Chimera Ant Queen and was known as the king of the Chimera Ants in Hunter x Hunter. As a representative of the newly born species, Meruem considered himself to be the peak of evolution. Initially, he was a cruel and violent leader who reflected his arrogant behavior. Upon his arrival, he made it very clear that he was a superior being to all the other forms of life and showed no mercy in killing or cannibalizing anyone he deemed disrespectful. Although Meruem overcame his god complex at a later stage, but he was still a ruthless ruler. On the 9th number, the character is Gilgamesh from Fate series. Gilgamesh, the ancient king who desired to own everything he could get his hands on, is a dominating villain who likes to bully his opponent in Fate. While the Holy Grail wars are meant to be fought by heroes of legends, Gilgamesh makes the case for legendary villains being in the mix as well. Although not many characters are fond of this character, his existence in the entirety of the Fate franchise is remarkable, which certainly makes him a popular face in the anime community. On the 8th number, the anime is Lelouch Lamperouge from Code Geass. In Code Geass, Lelouch Lamperouge, a high school student, finds himself in the possession of supernatural power called as Geass. Obsessed with the thought of destroying the tyrannical royal empire of Britannia, Lelouch pledges to free Japan and create a new world that would be better for everyone. Using high-powered mechs, his mind-controlling Geass power and his intelligence, Lelouch does whatever it takes to overcome his opposition. However, in his quest for absolute power, he makes his own sister a part of the collateral damage. This makes him a compelling character and one of the best anime characters with a god complex. On the 7th number, the character is Pain from Naruto Shippuden. Nagato, as known as Pain, the leader of Akatsuki, made it very clear that he was going to change the world for good the day his best friend died. Pain changed Akatsuki's mission by developing a religious-like ideology and believed that he was the one who could save the world from more war, destruction, and suffering. His thought-provoking idea of inflicting pain upon the people to grow caused mass casualties. Pain desired world peace, but at the cost of thousands of doomed lives, which was extremely irrational. The next character is Dio Brando from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Dio's charisma can be understood by the fact that he was the only villain for almost half of the JoJo series while heroes kept changing. His vampiric condition and surprising appeal offered him a considerable reputation with those who crossed his path in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. His villainous acts includes mass murders and cruelty to both his followers and non-followers. Although Dio never called himself a god, his actions and behaviors towards others made him look like one. He even had a cult of jealous followers who feverishly followed and supported his claims. Dio's new lot in life enabled him to enact every vile fantasy with the strength to back it up. The next character is Enel from One Piece. If you are a true One Piece fan, you won't forget who Enel was. Enel was initially the primary antagonist in Skypiea arc and the first major threat to the Straw Hat crew. He declared himself the god of Skypiea and controlled all of its territories. Anyone who disobeyed him would receive a massive bolt of lightning as punishment. Enel possessed an advanced form of observation haki which allowed him to keep a close eye on his subjects. As a result, the people of the Skypiea believed him to be a god and no one dared to go against him. However, Luffy's insulating rubber body gave Enel a reality check, and he realized that his claim to authentic divinity was false. On the next number, the character is Eren Yeager from Attack on Titan. Eren Yeager is a classic tale of a bullied kid in middle school who becomes a cynical badass in high school. His character development in the final season of Attack on Titan is exceptional as it transforms an innocent, uncertain and emotional kid into a man carrying the future of Eldians on his shoulders. Eren's growth as an Eldian hero is one of the best things about the latter half of the series. Since childhood, Eren's goal was to take revenge on Marley army, and he would stop at nothing to achieve it. However, his unique ideology of freedom puts the lives of 80% of humanity at stake. As the end neared, he started to justify his methods was the only way to repair the world. Although Eren was doing everything for the sake of humanity, the cost was too high. On the third number, the character is Father from Fullmetal Alchemist. Father is a prime example of an anime character with a god complex. Despite his humble beginning as dwarf in the flask, Father sought to strike out and even replace God by creating a transmutation circle that would encompass the entire planet. Along the way to his ultimate goal, he used humans as mere tools and treated them like guinea pigs, creating a group of homunculi and setting up the stones for engulfing the entire country in warfare was all part of the Father's big plan to become the strongest entity in existence. With the power he imagined to steal, Father was nearly successful in reaching the heavens themselves. However, his grandiose and over-ambitious plans proved to be his downfall. On the second number, the character is Sosuke Aizen from Bleach. Sosuke Aizen is widely considered as the best anime villain of all time, and it's easy to see why. Aizen claims that he alone can stand in heaven and become something even gods wish they could be. Throughout the series, everything that happens is a part of Aizen's plan, which is his most fearsome trait. Aizen's ultimate goal of overthrowing the Soul King, the closest thing to a god is Seiretei, and taking his place in the royal realm is something no one would have expected after his first encounter. Through years of training, he gained immortality and unmatched Zanpakuto powers, making him the prime example of the character with a god complex. On the first number, the character is Light Yagami from Death Note. Light Yagami was a typical high school student until he stumbled upon the Death Note, a simple looking notebook that grants death to anyone whose name is written on it. After receiving the Death Note, Light began punishing evildoers of society, and he granted them a cruel death. He aimed to eradicate evil from the world and fancied himself as the manifestation of justice and the god of the new world. However, it wasn't long before Light was assassinating innocent people to preserve his identity. Unintentionally, Light reached a point where he became a monster himself, which even he wasn't expecting. And that's why Light Yagami from Death Note takes the first number on our list. And that's for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching our video on the top 10 anime characters with god complexes. We hope you enjoyed learning about more these narcissistic and power-hungry characters who believe that they are above everyone else. But let's be real, if any of these characters actually had the power to become gods, they would probably just end up destroying everything in a feat of megalomania. It's a good thing that they are just fictional, right? Remember, just because someone thinks that they are a god doesn't mean they actually are. So stay humble and grounded, and maybe you won't end up like one of these delusional anime characters. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Sayonara.